I think John and I agree we'd much rather deliver a product late than wrong, so it's more important for us to get it right, even if that means it takes a little bit longer. And we'd rather take the heat and, get blamed for missing a party or something that was short-lived versus delivering a product that is substandard for what we're working so hard to deliver.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thank you for joining us today in episode 51 of the Pool Chasers podcast. Our mission is to help educate and inspire in the form of a podcast.
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafania. And this is the Pool Chasers podcast.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining us today here in the studio.
Thank you, guys. This is a great privilege. We really admire what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, thanks for spending a little time with us, understanding what we do, and thanks for being a catalyst at making change. We appreciate that and value it greatly.
Absolutely. So we want to get to know you guys a little bit better. John, we'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your family, and kind of how you got into the industry?
So I grew up in Naperville, Illinois, with a typical childhood involved in sports, friends, family. I realized really early on that I was interested in building and the building trades. Was fortunate enough to go to a high school that had a great building trades program, even allowed me to build a house 2 years of high school where we would leave school and actually create a building and get involved in every aspect of that. So I feel very lucky to have gone to a school like that and grew up in a community with that sort of access to things that really helped me find what I'd like to do, found my why through that experience. And that really helped hone who I've become now in the building trades.
That's really cool. How did that house turn out?
It turned out well. It's funny because you send a bunch of randoms up to the place and we try to create it each day and do our best. But we also had professional help along the way. And my teacher was this amazing guy that had probably over 50 years of experience in building. So
did you guys figure out quickly who shouldn't be building houses?
We did. We did. Some people were there just for the blow off. They wanted to just get out of school and go do something different. Where I was there really focused and honed in on what I was doing and really grew my expanse and my understanding of what it was like to work in the field and work on a house like that. Yeah.
What was actually your job in building that house? Were you designing? I mean, were you doing electrical? What were you doing?
Every phase. We would come in and some phases like electrical required a license. So we would have to bring in an electrician to do that, but we would be there with them, holding their hand and helping throughout the process every bit of the way. We actually physically did the framing and we physically did insulation in different parts of the phase. And ultimately, it got to the point where I was the assistant to the teacher in the class.
Oh, wow.
And ultimately really helped guide what the experience was every day.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm sure going through that entire process of, starting from the very beginning, the foundation, and seeing it to being complete, you really understand design and build. You know what I mean? It's one thing to just learn how to design online or, sitting in a classroom, but to be there on site and seeing it from, A to Z, I'm sure that has a huge impact on, your future.
No doubt. Yeah. Physically doing it yourself makes a huge difference. It's the best way to learn, by doing.
Very cool.
Tell us more about your family kind of growing up here.
Moved out to Arizona with my wife, Kathleen, right after college. We have 3 kids. We live and play in Scottsdale. Love it here. The weather and just the climate here is really great and very conducive to our lifestyle and what we do professionally. So it's been a huge blast being out here.
Yeah, you're involved in some like a league, like a softball, not softball. What's that thing you said that you were doing?
Cornhole.
Yeah,
that was a one-off tournament we played in.
Oh yeah. But how'd you guys do?
We made it to the semifinals.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Much better than we thought we'd do. Super pleased.
I didn't think anything of it. We went on a retreat and it was taken pretty seriously, but we got back home from it and I saw cornhole on ESPN.
Cornhole championships.
And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, are you kidding me? But they were good.
Right.
I was impressed. Bowling, professional bowling, it's the majority of the throws are strikes, but they're just making every single one. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
That one kid looks all gangster with his crooked hat and he hit 16 straight
holes. Yeah.
Hole in one, right in the whole 16 straight throws. And I was like, dude.
Yeah, we
That's
found
pretty
a couple
impressive.
Of those players deep into the rounds there real quick that we were just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
This is when our time ends now. When you start facing those guys, you're like, yep, okay, we had fun. So how did you transition kind of from the building into the pools?
So it was just a natural evolution for me. I was building houses early on in my career out here. It was in my early 20s. We were hiring pool builders to build the pools for the houses we built. Every house I had built here had a pool. So it was just something we were naturally doing. We were subbing it out and hiring different big name pool builders here locally. And we just weren't finding the fit and finish that we wanted to pair up with the houses we were building. So I decided to take it upon myself to get my license and create a solution for ourselves. Liquid Evolution was born out of the needs of our own for a better solution that would work well with what we were doing on the houses. And to me, it really just became more trades that I would hire beyond drywall and framing. I would now hire excavation and layout and pool plumbing and electrical and just really embraced the experience in every way.
Very cool.
I'm just curious, where do you find your inspiration? I mean, if you're not finding people to have something look the way that you want it to look, is there something that you saw while traveling or in books and magazines and different things like that? Is there something in particular that sort of inspires you to build a certain way?
You know, our surroundings, we get to live and work amongst some great talent out here. We get to work with some of the best landscape designers, architects, and home builders there are in town. And we're inspired by their work every day. We get to, work with some really talented people, and we're blessed to interpret their designs and bring them to life. There's a lot of great examples here and throughout the country of different pool projects. And we really just leverage everything that we can in order to make them better every day. If we can lift a grain of sand that improves on what we've done, we're up for it.
Right. And I think there was an article I read in Foothills magazine quite a while back. And you had talked about, this was a long time ago, I know, but it seemed like you were pretty passionate about raising the bar in different, industries. Does it mean a lot to you to kind of help out where you can and when you can?
Indeed. I think that's just naturally where my mind goes. We want to create nice things and make them the best we can. And that's what we enjoy. And that's what turns us on. So that's what we're up to every day.
Sure.
Have you had a mentor?
A variety of them. Yeah, absolutely. Some really great people. Through what we do, I get to spend time with some amazing people that have done great things in their lives. So anytime that we can gain from that, we do. Thanks
for sharing that, John. Appreciate that. How about Gordon? How about you now?
I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. Pretty traditional Southern upbringing. We did not have a pool. We swam more in rivers and lakes. Yeah, I had a good time. Nashville's a great place to be from. I miss it greatly, and there's a lot of fun stuff happening there. I finished college at Arizona State, and that planted me here in the deserts. I quickly got to work upon graduation and got right into, outdoor living. So got a family now out here. We live in Scottsdale, and we enjoy as well outdoors, hiking, playing in the water.
What's your favorite hike?
Favorite hike with family or by myself?
By yourself.
Different.
I like Echo Canyon. I think it's probably the best hike you can do and challenge yourself in the amount of time. It's gruesome and it's humbling depending on how fast you want to take it. So
I couldn't agree more. I don't care what anybody says. That thing kicks my ass every single time.
It's brutal.
But it feels good, like that sense of accomplishment. Like you get to the top. I'm either like, dude, I'm so stoked because going down is much easier unless, because this has happened a couple times, I've ran out of water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I feel so embarrassed, but I feel like I need to ask somebody if I can have some of their water. But the next time I brought an insane amount of water where my backpack was just crazy heavy.
Yeah, there's some great ones around here. But yeah, we like to get out and just kind of soak up our environment. We live in a beautiful place. So we like to get out when we can and enjoy.
Sure. I'm just curious, why did you choose Arizona State from Nashville?
So I went to college at Ole Miss originally, and with the best friend of mine who actually still lives out here, and he had gone to ASU. I came to visit him on a spring break trip, and I never went back. So
the parties,
yeah. By the time I got here, though, honestly, I mean, we don't get me wrong, we had our fair share of fun for sure. It was a great university, but the business school at ASU was pretty competitive, and for the first time in my life, it was I'd always gotten pretty good grades, and it had come natural for me. But I was definitely challenged and around people that were much smarter and took school a lot more serious than I had, coming from a fun SEC school. So, I know that stigma exists, but the right programs, people at ASU are really putting out some quality products. So I had some catching up to do. It took me a year to kind of get my grades up and get accepted to the business school. And I don't think I made a B again, but I still wasn't able to finish with some of my classmates. I was around a lot of smart people. It was fun. So.
Yeah, they definitely have that party stigma, but I think that's actually challenged ASU to really bring up their programs because they've always had to like make it better to try to outshine the party mentality. But I think their business school is really one of the top in the country, so it's cool.
But, I think a lot of them, they can play hard and work hard just as well. I'm always kind of blown away. I mean, it's the movies or some things that you might read, but they'll party hard as hell, but they'll also study their ass off and make sure that they're combining, the best of both worlds because they are there for their education. I feel like you got to have fun as well to make it all worth it.
Early introduction to balance.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right. I think most schools are party schools if that's what you're up to.
Oh yeah, you could find it. So what made you start in the pool industry?
Being around, outdoor landscapes, hardscapes and stuff like that, it was just natural. I mean, we were around, I always kind of existed in the high-end luxury market. So we were around some pretty cool projects, the guys that were building them and the level of detail that was being done on them, wasn't impressive. I just naturally kind of, moved towards wanting to do that part of the scope as well. So, just encompassing the whole outdoor environment and making it work together and seamless and better, I think is what drove me to pools, was just having a cohesive kind of comprehensive approach to the whole space.
And you said the pool is kind of the center of that whole space, right?
It is. And I've heard a lot of people too say, I think one of the guys you had on, I was listening, said something about, they use their pool every day, and here people do. Just because you're not swimming in it doesn't mean you don't use it. So it's very important, its placement and where people can see it and how they can hear it. And, a lot of things other than just how it swims and performs when you're actually in the water are very important elements that we, try to understand and deliver on.
Most definitely. How did you go from graduating from ASU into backyard landscape? Sorry if I missed that.
No, I started working for a company. The economy was good. I graduated in 2005. Started working for a landscape company that was a derivative of a pretty popular one here. It was fun. We were, I was in like a project management type position. So I was in charge of, dealing with the homeowners, the, designer, the crews and getting the project put together. And so, I was doing that. Guys that were selling these jobs and designing were sure having a good time. So I was able to learn and, kind of self-teach myself a lot of the design part and understanding, that part of the business. And I was just drawn to it. I liked it. So I went from, more of a management office administrative type position to, being a little bit more on the design and concept and bringing that vision to life.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Can you guys tell us more about your team, how you guys met and teamed up together?
Sure. I was, I've been in the industry a while and I'd kind of, like John had said, your why is very important. And I'd lost that, it was post downturn on the economy and it was, not very profitable to be building pools here in 2013 and 14. So I'd kind of gotten down and, wasn't sure that I even wanted to build pools anymore. We'd done so many, but, it wasn't, I'd lost the fun. So in that time I had, bumped into John. We shared a lot of similar interests and goals, I think, in understanding the, demand that existed, we thought, in our industry. And we tried a project and had a lot of fun doing it, really tried to make things better. And, the rest is history.
What did that project look like? I mean, because I think it would be important when maybe partnering up with somebody new that you would actually run into some struggles during the project. And it's like, how is my partner going to overcome those struggles and different things like that? Because to me, that's what I would want to see is like, do they have the patience? Do they have all these different things that we are going to run into at some point in time? How do they handle themselves when we run into that? So can you run us through whatever you remember from that?
Oh, no doubt. Dealing with adversity is a real test of your character and all. And it is really important to understanding a partner relationship and moving forward. Our first project was relatively simple. It was a spool in a backyard, landscape, patio, and it was configured in a tight space and all. And Gordon took it on, designed it, met with the client, managed most of the process all the way through. And it was really neat. It was really impressive. And it helped me see the ability to scale the business with he and I together. Really enjoyed the time.
You guys pretty organized, have a lot of processes, making sure that things can go as, not everything can go as planned, but you guys do a pretty good job in that area.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I've picked up from John. We probably do more planning than people think is necessary, but it's such an integral part of our process that, I mean, it all starts with the planning. And I think we're thorough, from the beginning, and we do have a process that we follow that we stick to, but every project's different. So we try to force ourselves to think about those details and, what makes it different and understand everything. So we can create, a process, a schedule, a budget, and a project, that works.
Yeah, we always, after talking with builders, we always think that it's got to be really difficult, especially when using subcontractors. No matter how good they are, one thing can affect everything. If the weather is really bad and they can't show up, it throws off the whole schedule, and it throws, other future schedules you have lined up. It throws it off. Is that just something that, you forewarn the customers that, hey, this is kind of, what we have planned, but, things do happen and things change?
No doubt about it. We do. And things change every day, especially right now. Things are taking longer. It's a very busy, healthy market here locally. And for example, once we get green tag right now on a swimming pool, it's ready for shotcrete. It takes about 2 weeks for that shotcrete to show up. And that's just the way it is. And we just have to adapt to that. Things change and the market will react. And our clients, we're really lucky. Our clients are really patient and understand this. And we keep an open line of communication. Gordon really takes the lead on that and makes sure every client understands where we're at any given time and what they might expect to see next week. And we do our best to deliver on what we promise.
Timing's tough. Timing is one of those things that we only have so much control over. And, when there's emotion involved and deadlines, sometimes people can try to force us to do things out of rhythm or out of order. And we try to stick to our guns. And that's definitely something that's important is not to get rattled just by a schedule and understand what your end game is and what your goal is and stick to that versus, maybe being a month late or 2 months late. I think John and I agree. We'd much rather deliver a product late than wrong, so it's more important for us to get it right, even if that means it takes a little bit longer. And we'd rather take the heat and, get blamed for missing a party or something that was short-lived versus delivering a product that is substandard for what we're working so hard to deliver.
It's the best way to look at it.
You guys have Anthony now too, right?
We do. Anthony is someone I met about 20 years ago. At the time, he worked for Creative Environments, and he was in charge of building their Boulder water features. And he built a water feature on a project that I had contracted through another pool builder, and that's how we met. We've known each other for many years throughout that time, and I've worked with him directly through his own company. And just recently, within the last 6 months, he came on board and joined forces with us. Very grateful to have him around. His instinct in the field is unlike any other. He considers himself a dinosaur of the industry. We'll often catch him out there digging holes or setting points or working directly with the guys and really getting on their level to make sure our details are all managed right. So very fortunate.
Yeah, he's incredible. We had the honor of talking with him, and it was really cool talking with him a little more on that second project on Camelback. The guy's like eagle eyes, his attention to detail is really cool. I don't think age has anything to do with it because he'll probably outdo most young bucks out there. I mean, in finding things, getting in there, digging a trench, wiring this, doing that. I mean, he's just all over it, making sure that this, whatever projects you guys are working on are going as smooth as possible.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely, it is subcontractor heavy. What we do, we rely on subcontractors for nearly every phase, and there's often gaps in between. And that's where Anthony really shines. He can come through and manage each part of the process all the way through and pick up on those little bits and pieces that sometimes get overlooked.
But it's probably really important, if maybe somebody doesn't understand a part of the phase and he's there to oversee, and you guys as well, to make sure like, hey, that's not what we're doing. That light needs to go over here, or this needs to be done this way. It's really important.
I think something that sets us apart that's different too, there's a lot to learn from him. He does have a lot of good field experience, is that he's in on the planning process from the get-go. So once a project's ours and we bring it in, we meet as a team and we all mow in, and try to understand that project and ask the appropriate questions so that everybody on the team understands, what it is we're looking at, what we're trying to accomplish, how we're going to do it. And so he contributes a lot on that. The how to put it together part, he's pretty solid. There's a lot of things that he sees that, the architects and stuff that are handing us plans don't get, and they don't realize, maybe something's off by, a couple inches or, and most times the plan gets adjusted. He's pretty sharp, so he catches a lot and allows us to put out a better product. So I think getting him involved early, just makes our process and our product a lot stronger. So when he's out there in the field and he's got a set of plans and he's building something, it's not the first time it got handed to him. He understands how it got to where it did, and the decisions that were made, and what was involved in creating the documents that we are now building. So.
Yeah, that communication's got to be key. That way you kind of all understand where the project's going from the very beginning. I'm sure that's very important.
Absolutely. Our customers expect that. They assume that we are in full communication and everyone understands every detail all the way through.
Well, if you don't, then that's where stuff gets messed up.
That's where it gets more expensive.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing all that. Can you guys tell us more about the Liquid Evolution story, where it began, what you guys believe in, the journey of how it's got to where it is today?
Sure. It really started back in 2003 as a solution for ourselves. We were building homes and I wanted to, hire a pool builder that was able to match the fit and finish of the building. And by doing it on my own, it was by far the best way to do that. We could ensure that the material quality and the installation quality and the thoughtfulness and design all was consistent with the DNA of the house. That's really what we were after. And I think that's what we've done. And now it's allowed it to break into sort of a boutique solution for a variety of other clients and home builders in this market. Typically, the pool is really underserved on the design end, where what you'll see on a set of plans typically is a blob that says permit by others for the pool. And that's where we really want to change the way things are done in a way and come in earlier and help with design and help help it get built better, really, by getting the paperwork right and the planning right. That's where we start. We bring that same thoughtfulness and concern all the way through the project. And we really just try to make things the best we can.
Do you find it difficult when a home is already built and you're having to build a swimming pool that complements the house? Because I feel like somebody might have seen a swimming pool that they really liked and the design that they really like. It's like, it's a beautiful looking pool in what you're trying to do, and we could definitely do it, but it is not going to fit this backyard and your home. Do you find that part a little bit difficult, or is that where you step in as designers and compromise and make it work?
I think that's a separator for us for sure. I think we try to make the DNA of the pool and outdoor experience match the house. You have to. So in understanding that allows us to deliver a product that matches the fit and finish of, whatever we're working around. So it's a differentiator for us, I would say.
I would think back to even building homes. It's really nice that if you're doing a home and pool build, that you can make sure that each one of those complements each other.
Absolutely. That's easy because then we also have the right budget in place and all the expectations are there. That's the easiest scenario for us. Working with a client or other home builders is something we excel at too. And we just bring the same thoughtfulness to the process.
Being in the home building industry, do you find that it's a lot more organized and there's a lot more permits that are needed and all of the above compared to the pool industry? Were you a little bit blown away when you got into building pools that the standards were different?
Yes, no doubt. So with a home, you need to create a set of documents that's drawn by an architect or designer, stamped by engineers. It has a full soils report and MEP study on all the mechanical systems. It has a fire sprinkler plan. It gets reviewed by multiple levels by sometimes different municipalities. And it's pretty legit roll of plans that you end up with to build a house. And then left on that plan, like I was saying, is a simple blob and says permit by others for the pool. And it's odd. All we need to do to get a permit for a pool in most towns is provide a site plan that shows the equipment, the pool barriers, and the square footage of the pool. And that's really it. It doesn't require more than that. They don't do a hydraulic study. They don't look much deeper into it than that or the structure itself. So it is odd to us that that's all it takes. But again, that's another differentiator for us. We try to come in and do more. We do a fuller set of plans that has all the different layers that we know we need to generate to produce a quality product.
And do you find the same on the landscape side, or things were different, or were they about the same?
On the projects that I've typically worked on, the landscape project's pretty scoped out. Down to even, the dripping emitter size on what size, or the emitter size on a plant, or, where the connection point for a light's going to be, where it's going to be, how it's going to be positioned. It's got, a cross section with, where it's going to be located in the world. So I think landscape plans, there's some guys in our industry that we're fortunate enough to work with here that do a great job at those plans. What's missing is that level of detail on the pool plans. And that's something that John and I have recognized. We're trying to bring that level of professionalism and detail to our market and try to get the old pool by other, notion on these luxury projects out of there, because it doesn't create anything good for anyone. It puts an under budgeted figure in there, an allowance for a project. So it starts off on the wrong foot. And then, it's severely under designed. So, a lot of things are thought out afterwards, and, we inherit sometimes where the pool equipment's going to be located. And, a lot of times it's not large enough, or, the elevation's not quite optimal. So, there's a lot of things that we can chime in on, or even where the plumbing's going to be run. And maybe there's a big tree that's supposed to go there or something, so all of those things are thought out when we were able to have the time to design a pool and put it in place like it should be. Pools and projects are best when we are brought in early and we're able to work with the, architect and interior designers, landscape architect, and understand, exactly what it is everyone's trying to pull off and how they want and see everything working, so that we can make sure from a functional standpoint, we're able to, bring that vision to life. So
you told us before that, Liquid almost became like a surf park, right?
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Back in the early 2000s, our ambitions got big, and we started going down the line of producing what would be the new generation of Big Surf. And we ultimately developed about 18 different patents around surf generation technology and water dissipation technology, and all the different things involved in creating what would become the next surf park. We took it down the road, and ultimately the project did not succeed. It hit the 2007 market crash, and that whole dream kind of fell apart. But we did take it quite a way down the path of doing that and creating a very legit water park that would have had a whitewater rapids course and quite a few amenities that would have been really neat.
How rad would that have been?
Oh, it would have been amazing. It was something really fun to work on.
Have you heard of that one that's coming out in Gilbert that they've built? No. That they're building? No, they're building one now with, I think it just got approved. So it's supposed to be digging or something, but it's a wakeboarding park and a surf park and something else, like a water ski, but it's a big area of like man-built water where they're like kind of doing something similar to what you were talking about. I don't think it's as detailed as like a Big Surf, but
right. It probably cable driven where they have overhead cables.
It is.
Right. Yeah, that's really neat.
It is cable driven.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we looked into that heavily.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, I think, next summer coming out, which that's pretty quick, but yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, I saw some videos and stuff, but
is that just how long it's taking to fill it up with water?
Probably. The sun out here just sucks it up.
No kidding. That's crazy. Oh, buddy, we got a special announcement here.
Yes, we do.
So our friends at Jandy are crushing it with their push to quit the internet.
Crushing it.
We recently made a special trip to San Diego to see their new facility, which is amazing, but most importantly, to get an update on their progress with catching online violators. We had the opportunity of sitting in on their enforcement meeting, and let me tell you, this was taken a lot more seriously than we thought it would. They showed us a chart of violations and, their progress from January till now. They're at 82% attainment of compliance, meaning from day one when they started policing and enforcing to today, they have reduced the number of Jandy violations online by 82%.
It's simple. The customer wants to go online and save a few dollars by purchasing their equipment online. This is something that we've all gone through as service professionals, and Jandy's heard the cry. They've taken a stand and they've supported our industry. They understand that only a qualified pool professional should work around electrical, gas, and hydraulic connections. I mean, have you even seen a customer work with that kind of stuff?
I have, and it's not pretty.
Definitely not pretty. Jandy's warranty will not cover any Jandy equipment that is not purchased, installed, and or serviced by a pool professional. This will save you guys time and money by allowing you to avoid those awkward conversations with your customer and let you focus on the part of the business that you do best. If you want to find out more details, listen to episode 31 of the podcast or go to jandy.com/builtstrong. That's jandy.com/builtstrong.
So you talk about, your contemporaries have embraced collaboration of competition. You talk a little bit more about that.
Collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
We're fortunate to be part of the Tributary Group. It's really we've always felt this way, but it's being part of Tributary and working hand in hand with some of the best builders in the country is really special, and it's something we really embraced and are growing with. It's something we really enjoy.
Yeah, the collaboration thing's powerful. It's something that we take very serious. We learn a lot from those trips, more so, not just always pools. I mean, the last trip, for instance, that we got together on, we got all kinds of chemical knowledge, and I think that's an area that, most builders would probably agree that has a weakness, and we had somebody on there that was, with our group and talking about those things. But once questions started coming up, everybody realized how normal it was to not understand a whole lot about water chemistry once you fill a pool and walk away from it. So it's an opportunity for us to collaborate with some leaders and subject matter experts in particular areas and really help us elevate our game as a group and as an entity to do good.
I find that kind of interesting that water chemistry part is so overlooked, because if they don't start the pool up right, it can jack your guys' pool up like that. So it's pretty interesting to me that, how important that is and why that's not followed through all the way, because sometimes they just get handed off to who knows who, and they do the startup and don't understand, the fill water, don't test the fill water, don't understand how to adjust those levels, and that's pretty crazy, because that can have a huge effect on the pool you just built.
Yeah, no, you're right. It can. It's amazing. It's something we were overlooking. And many of us have is what is the fill water? What is the quality of that water? And what do you need to do to adjust it as it goes in? And that's something very few of us do. We would just throw the hose in and assume all was well and come back the next day and it would be full. But it would also be full of plaster dust typically. Mm-hmm. And that's a sign that the calcium content of the water is too low. So it's drawing that out of the matrix of the system and weakening the plaster finish on the first day when it's the most fragile. So this is something that we're learning a lot about, and are grateful that we have other people in the industry that are kind of guiding and leading the way in this.
There's so much that can happen, even that when you put the hose in up until it's full, it can pull so much out of the walls by the time you come back tomorrow and actually adjust it. Like, I know a lot of people now are adjusting the fill water like as it goes in, because you don't want it to be like pulling that calcium out of the walls. It's a pretty cool process when you understand it.
I think there's a lot going on. I feel like customers will sometimes plan the pool build around a new roof, around new landscape, around all these other things that got going on in their backyard, because they're like, let's get this all done at once. Like, I saved up my money so that we could do everything all at once. That is really difficult for a swimming pool. When you got nails falling in pools, you have manure and different other things, flying into the pool. There's all kinds of different things that are going on that you have to pay really close attention.
Yeah, fertilizer can really jack up that surface.
Yeah. Put rust in the pool.
Yeah, we had that happen where the little black spots on the brand new pool surface. The owner was worried about it. It turned out it was the fertilizer from the grass.
Mm-hmm.
This was an older pool, but we linked back this rust in pool one time where they had and it was like an old, like vintage looking, like decoration in the backyard. And it was like shedding, and it was like blowing into the pool. There was like pieces that were falling off it that were like rusty, and they were like, going into the pool and making some of the stains. But
yeah, those like Scottsdale old like metal statues that are pretty common in Scottsdale. That's what it was. And it was like by the pool, and we kept seeing it come back. And then we realized like one day that it was just blowing all that dust into the water. Yeah. That took a little while to figure out.
Yeah, every little microenvironment's so different. So knowing what they are and understanding all those little details really, really helps.
When you guys are on the Tributary events, and especially this last one where you're talking about water chemistry, are you guys often talking about maybe how to kind of train technicians better to take over these pools? Because I feel like there's a lot of builders building more progressive pools than the industry is ready for in terms of like the pool service professionals. Because there's a lot of automation, there's a lot of automatic chemical feeders and different things like that. And I feel like sometimes in certain areas of the country, not really ready for some of that. How do you guys feel about that?
I think there's with the whole collaboration over competition, I think, everybody wants to do better and everybody wants to understand and learn. And that's the whole point of spending your time there and with that group and being a part of it. So I think everybody there has the same intention. So I think we just try to learn as much as we can so we can coach and change and be a catalyst for understanding something that, has been overlooked or maybe done incorrectly. So, that's a hard thing to accept. I mean, when you can start up a pool without plaster dust, that's music to our ears because, the industry thinks that's just part of it and it's just part of the curing process. And when science proves something different, it's hard to argue it. So I think that was eye-opening for us that what scientifically is actually happening is something that we could do better at. So
when we were at one of the pools, the homeowner was out talking with us and he was saying that, the pool service should be relatively cheap because you have the automatic chemical feeders, got the in-floor system. There's just all these different features on the pool that's going to be keeping the pool clean 24/7. That's not my place to say anything, but in my head, I was like, this is going to be, if it were me taking this pool over, it would be quite a bit of money because you have this beautiful tile that needs to be taken care of. You have this new surface that if we have a dust storm that comes through, that in-floor system can only do so much. And if it sits there on that surface long enough, you're going to get staining on there and there's going to be a ton of other issues. And then you have the eyes and ears. Who's paying attention to the equipment area? There was, probably about 4 or 5 pumps back there and all the other things going on that you have to pay close attention to. Somebody that's paying $100 for pool service, I don't know if you're going to get a company that's going to take the time to look through all of that stuff thoroughly each visit. So I do think it's important for the builders, which you probably do, educate the customers on whatever service company comes in here. These are the things that they should be doing when they're here each visit. And that's not cheap. You know what I mean? So, not being sold, and I'm not saying you guys do this, but not being sold with the idea that we're going to put all this stuff in and nobody's ever going to have to do anything ever again. Because that is definitely not true.
No, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
We try to implement systems and practices that will help to get you there and help the lift of the pool service guy, but it's still critical that person's there every week and maintaining and managing and making sure the chlorinator system is working and making sure the levels are correct and ensuring all those systems are right so the homeowner doesn't have to think about it too hard.
And that's cool because I think if the service company is educated in all of that equipment and the way that it works, that pool will work like a machine. If you know what you're doing and you're paying close attention to everything, the pool should be doing most of the work. But you have to be educated and you need to know what you're looking at and what you're looking for every time that you're visiting that pool.
And we understand that level of service and understanding too comes with a cost, like anything. So we're very serious about picking the right techs to take over our projects and pools so that they, not only have a good maintenance and chemical background, but understand also how all the equipment works. And even like you were saying earlier, the microenvironments that exist in every yard, so we are very serious about who takes care of our pools.
I think what you're getting, we talked about before, is educating the customer on all that helps the service people tremendously if the builder does it or the salesperson does it. Because a lot of times, especially in these pools that are lower end built pools that are just being done by somebody that's a sales guy, they won't explain hardly any of that. And that's the harder part as a service company coming in when all that salesperson did was sell all the features and how cool this pool is going to be, but never really talks about the importance of maintaining it and paying for quality service and paying for someone that actually understands what is going on with this pool because they just want to sell the pool. And that's the kind of, I think, the hardest part that we're trying to eliminate is you guys could help the service side tremendously if you just explain, and I think you guys do, but just explain it much better to the homeowner. This is what you need and this is what they should be doing when they come each week. If you don't see them doing this, probably should get somebody else.
That's for sure. It's a huge part of the experience is how well it gets maintained and serviced. That's a big part of the experience for the owner.
Tyler, you know what I saw today?
What'd you see today, Greg?
A husband and wife inside MPT looking to pick out some new tile for their new pool. And you know who was there to help them?
Who?
An MPT expert. And the process seemed to be going pretty smooth.
Well, yeah, MPT Design Center is the place to go for pool tile, pool finish, hardscapes, and outdoor kitchens. Whether you're building a pool, remodeling it, or just dreaming about it, you can check out their website at mptpool.com to locate an MPT Design Center or showroom near you.
And for all you pool professionals, builders, designers, send your customers to MPT for professional design assistance and product samples they can take home. On the mptpool.com website, you'll also find a wealth of photographs to show what MPT products will look like when they're installed. Plus, you can download a copy of the MPT tile and pool finish catalogs or order a printed copy to be mailed to your home.
So download the MPT mobile app to select products, save favorites, and email them directly to your pool builder. And be sure to follow MPT Pool Products on Instagram and Facebook for the latest photos and product information.
So we first met you both at a pool you built on that tributary tour. We were very impressed with the detail of that pool. I remember running into you first, John, and you were kind of just, I don't know, you were kind of glowing. You were just excited to have the tributary squad there and also just talk about that pool and some of the other services that you were providing to that customer that I thought was really cool. You guys remember that day?
We do. We had just completed that project. It was the original version of that pool was something we built back in 2003. This was an expansion of it. We more than doubled the size to fit the new homeowners' needs. They have a growing family and all, and they really wanted more space out in the sun with a wide open pool area. And we figured out a way to fit it onto the existing property and remodeled it in a way that it was really interesting. It was tricky because we had to tie into all the plumbing and tie into the structure and figure out how to make the site work. And, it was so much fun because it's in a beautiful spot up there and the clients are amazing. And we really just enjoyed delivering on what we sought out to do there.
And for those that obviously did not see this pool, can you talk about some of the features that were on that? Because I think it was a really cool design.
Oh, sure. So it's a natural freeform pool. It's kind of meanders through the courtyard and then expands out beyond with multiple water features, scuppers, all natural rock materials that go to the bottom of the pool in some areas. We have a boulder feature that extends all the way to 8.5 feet deep into the water and then comes out about another 4.5 feet. It has multiple basketball hoops, a full PV3 system that cleans the entire pool. And I think it has about 12 pumps, 4 heaters, 4 filters. It's a pretty stout system. And we managed to squeeze it all into what was left of the buildable space in the property.
And there was 1 or 2 bridges that you could walk across.
Yeah, right. So a bridge and then a natural rock bridge over the grotto.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't have it. I don't think, did you see the equipment, Ty?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't make it to the equipment. I was too busy taking photos and stuff. But
yeah, I think Jeremy walked us all over by the equipment. I think you were taking pictures, but yeah, he talked about all the equipment there too. It was pretty cool.
There's Jeremy's plug.
Yeah, again.
No, you the man, Jeremy. Thank you for inviting us. So thank you guys. And also during that weekend, during the tributary tour, went to a second location where you were working on the earlier stages of rebar and plumbing. It's actually the video that we just kind of had some fun with. Can you talk to us about that project and showing off that build to the whole tributary team?
Yeah, that was one that we've had a lot of fun with, and pretty technical pool. It's got some wet edge with like a grass detail on one side. It's got, negative edge or vanishing edge, on the back side. So there's a lot of water to push over, and there's a 10-foot deep, diving area, a couple of different levels of Baja shelves. Something that made that pool really challenging is there's no reference points. So we had to build that pool first. So, we had to land that with GPS points and get it exactly where it exists on that plan to make sure that everything else plays out. So technical, fun, challenging, and definitely the type of stuff that we like to work on. So that's been one that we've had a lot of fun building. So it was nice to have you guys out and check it out.
Were you guys nervous at all? Because I feel like that tributary tour and going to like a project where a pool's already built and then going to one where it was just like excavation was done. Were you guys a little bit nervous and these are, some of the top builders out there going in and just looking at, every little thing, or did you kind of embrace it and hoping that you would just learn something from it? That's what tributary is all about, right?
Yes, no doubt. We fully embraced it. It was a lot of fun and a great experience to have everyone out there. We're up for learning at all times. If there's a single grain of sand we can lift to get better, we're up for it. And we're hoping that the group can help us lift what we're doing and get there.
Yeah. Did you get some good feedback on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was fun. And we learned our pool's better because of having our group there to look at it. So yeah, it was great to get feedback and talk to, guys from all over about, different soil conditions they may or may not see, the way that we plumb things, steel, a lot of the things that are specific and normal to us, aren't specific and normal to some of our other group members. So that proposes really good questions. So there was a great question and answer, and we had a good time, showing off what we do and learning and trying to make it better, like John said.
Was there anything in particular, any advice that somebody had given that made you maybe change something on that job in particular?
I don't know if we changed. That one was pretty far along. I don't know if we really changed anything. I'm trying to think.
On the
just feel like on that one, there's so much going on, down to even the view and elevation and all the things going on that, and having that many, professionals in one area, that maybe something might have, happened.
Offhand, I don't remember anything specifically that we changed on that. Jeremy helped us out with the plans on that one, did a great job on all the hydraulics. So we had an opportunity to, go through that, talk about how we did what we did and why, and where we all kind of chimed in to make the pool, what it was when they saw it. So there was good, value in that, and understanding collaboration and us working with someone that's right here in our market to make a project better for the, the good of the client and the industry. So I think it was a good example to show our group, about the collaboration over competition is all about and what it means, and that, we truly passionately help each other the best way that we can to make the end result better and make the industry better. So that was something that was fun, and we were able to show everybody firsthand what that's like, because it's probably tough for some people to comprehend, us working together and being such friends and colleagues in the same market. So there's room for all of us if it's done respectfully and ethically, and we both take pride in doing that, I think, and it works well, and we enjoy working with them. So that was really fun. I think John was going to mention, though, on the first project, we had a little service thing that we had overlooked, and one of the guys in our group caught it right offhand.
That's right. Yeah, little pickups on the first pool for sure.
Oh, really?
There's always things we can do better, and the group definitely recognized a handful of small things that we've now improved on.
Oh, that's cool. Can you share some of those, if you wouldn't mind?
As simple as the drain covers. We use the typical, this was a remodel pool, so we repurposed the old same covers that we had, and they were the simple A&A ones versus the color match covers. And Jeremy had pointed that out, and that's such a simple thing, but it's something I had overlooked and something we can do better and apply to our future works.
That's so awesome, because anybody could have done that. You got it to that point, and now and moving forward, it probably won't ever happen again. That's really cool. So what other things did you guys do after, because we didn't go to any of the other events after that? Did you go visit some of Jeremy's pools as well?
We did. Yeah, we got to see a really awesome pool that he did. That's over in Paradise Valley. I think it's got 400 feet of perimeter overflow. It was pretty impressive.
Oh, wow.
We got to see that. That had a pretty impressive equipment room, injectors, about as technical as a pool gets. And we actually know the guy that takes care of that pool. Jeremy referred him to take care of a few of ours. He said it's one of the easier ones that he can take care of. So it's just fact that if it's built right, it can be easily cared for, and it's possible. So, but yeah, we got to see several of his award-winning projects and enjoyed all of it. It was fun.
I know he was excited. He told us he wanted you guys to pick apart his pools too. He thought that was pretty fun. Because he knew somewhere they messed up, and he wanted to see if you guys would catch it. Did you guys catch those, or did other people catch those?
I didn't catch anything particularly. I just enjoy looking at the creativity and the delivery of what he puts out. It's pretty impressive. So, no, I didn't. I don't have as much of the service side experience that I think some of those guys picked little things maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He wanted to get your guys' feedback and see if you could find those issues, which I thought was pretty cool of him, because he already knew where they were. So.
Yeah, I think he had a little change my mind bet going on, and I don't think anybody changed his mind. We were challenged. I think they challenged him maybe, but I think he kept his money.
That's awesome.
Have you seen kind of this collaboration become something new in the industry? Because I feel like, with our goal with the podcast, another thing is to kind of help elevate and bring it together. And I feel like this collaboration between builders and stuff is something that is fairly new. Have you guys seen that over the last couple of years, or how does that? Most of the time, like you said, people kept to themselves and they looked at it as competition. But I think when you collaborate, and figure out a way to do that, the project becomes better and the industry is better by creating a better product for the client.
Yeah, you guys have brought it to light. I think just listening to the podcast from early on was a great experience for us and opened our minds and all to the collaboration over competition mentality. Hearing Jeremy on the show and Rick and all the other great minds that are in this industry was it really helped to break down those barriers and has helped us personally up our game and make relationships with some of these guys. And we appreciate what you guys are doing too.
Wow. You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure sitting with all the people that we have, including you guys, because there's something to learn from everybody's story and situation and where they're going. I think you guys are like a triple threat in being involved with building homes and having the landscape background and just being so incredibly progressive and caring about even the service side of it and the chemistry side of it, knowing that there's things that are not your strong points yet, but you're willing to spearhead that and become more knowledgeable in those areas. I think that's really cool. Some people might have a little bit too much pride and not want to talk about that. It's just like, I'll figure it out, but I'm not going to really talk about it right now. When now it's like, I'd rather just say like, hey, like, I don't really know too much about that. Can you help me out? Like, what do you suggest? Look at this pool. What could I have done better? Like, what would you want to see? It's cool getting that sort of input.
Yeah, I think our pools get better. We always really strive to make the next one better than the last, and we try to ask a lot of questions and understand everything that we did throughout the process to see where we, did well and where we could work on. And we certainly try to do the best we can. So, not understanding something, I don't think is intimidating to us. I think it shows us, an area that we need to focus and improve because, we've all got those.
Yeah. And I think probably one of my favorite parts of the whole, tributary meetup was the dinner we had at Talking Stick, the resort casino there.
That was a nice little view.
Yeah, that was one of the raddest views I've seen. But I remember sitting across from you, Gordon, and we just had a really good conversation and talking about everything from architecture to marketing to all the different things going on. And I just remember truly enjoying myself. And I felt like I was surrounded by people that genuinely, it wasn't a meetup to just have, drinks and talk shit. Like everybody was genuinely wanting to talk about design and how to better, their company or business or just be more creative and even talking about marketing. I just thought it was the coolest thing. And one thing in particular, somebody specifically asked me who my favorite architect was. And for the first time, I was like, where the hell am I? Like it just was a feeling of like I had arrived at something very special. But I remember connecting with you and I just want to say thank you. Cause maybe people don't really know who we are and just very cool to know that, well, if Jeremy invited you, must be okay to talk to. Yep. But it wasn't really like that, getting to know everybody. It was just that you're in the pool industry. Let's talk. You got some questions? I want to help you out. I might have some questions that you might know. Like there was no, like we were all equals. That was the best feeling. Like sitting at that table, like put money aside, projects aside, how much time you've put in the industry. If we were all there breaking bread together, like we were just equals and we could just share information and knowledge. And I thought it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sharing of information is pretty powerful, and it's a total open book. So that's one of the biggest things we get from, it's nice visiting vendors and stuff like that. It's a big part of it, and we really enjoy those tours, the breakouts and the after tour dinner stuff, and just, sitting in the hotel lobby and being able to just share things about projects and ask questions and, bounce things off colleagues and some of the guys that are doing some of the coolest stuff in our industries is a fun thing.
Yeah. And it feels good to be a part of something, I'm sure. It's like you're a part of this like elite club or something where these are like your brothers and sisters that you get to just share all kinds of information with. That's, I feel like there's a lot of other industries where they have like kind of the, like a club almost, you know what I mean? Even if it's, like some industries have unions that are taken a lot more seriously, but those unions are taken, extremely serious where they have a lot of meetups and they discuss a lot of different things. It's really cool.
So I want to take a minute to introduce our newest sponsor and supporter, Ledge Lounger.
Oh yeah, really excited and thankful to have y'all on board with us.
Yeah, we actually recorded an episode with Christopher Anderson, the CEO and founder of Ledge Lounger. It is actually episode 29, so if you have not heard it and to understand more of the story, go check it out.
Definitely one of our favorites. So I think the easiest way to describe their product is they make a high quality outdoor furniture that looks amazing, especially by the pool. Their signature product is a chase, and I can't think of a more iconic piece in our industry than that.
Definitely.
The chase sits in the water on Baja or Sunshelf. You might notice people tanning on these on Instagram, and their feed is just blowing up with thousands of likes and comments.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen those.
So it probably rings a bell now.
Yeah, so we just actually recently went to Brookshire, Texas to meet up with the Ledge Lounger team. We took a tour of the facility and really got to understand the company and culture so much more. Everyone was so full of energy and excited to be part of the team, and they all did their jobs flawlessly. We also actually recorded an episode and did a fireside chat, which will be another episode, so stay tuned for those.
And they just came out with a line of games. And these games are made out of the same high quality materials as our outdoor furniture. And, they're designed to go poolside just like the furniture is, which is really cool. And while we were there, we were able to test drive one of their new games, the ping pong table. And let me tell you,
yes, please tell us.
I don't know if you saw on our Instagram IGTV, but I was passing out whoopings on their ping pong table.
Oh my!
I mean, Tyler and JC, they just, if you see the IGTV, you'll know they just didn't stand a chance. I mean, I really felt like Forrest Gump in his prime.
Oh my!
Just kidding. Y'all tried. I mean, you do get an A for effort.
Oh, thanks. So anyway, if you want to find out more about Ledge Lounger, go to ledgelounger.com. So one thing we really noticed, while we're on your job sites is, everything was so clean and so organized. It was impressive that you guys both knew the names of all the subs. You brought a pop-up tent with drinks and a cooler with your logo on it. You provide trash bins and bathrooms. And, it was a little bit different than we're used to seeing. So, we're very impressed with your level of professionalism. Why is that so important to you?
Thank you. The orderly job site is critical to the success of the project. I really feel that way. We have a lot of different subcontractors that we rely on, and we expect them to show up and drive up the hill and provide their best work. And the least we can do is prep the site right for them. Make sure there's a restroom, make sure there's simple water, drinks, shade, make sure that there's not a mess in their way, make sure they're not having to do work that's beyond their scope, make sure that we're ready for them to show up and perform their task and have the right plans in hand. And we really try to think through their eyes and make sure that they have a great experience when they're with us on site.
I think that's really cool because, I don't think a lot of people probably expect that. And I'm sure when they showed up the first time and you guys started doing that, they were really appreciative of that.
Well, you want to work with the best subs out there. I feel like they have a level of expectation on those job sites as well. You can't go for the best and treat them like crap and not be prepared. Because if you're not prepared and there's, people on top of each other doing different things, they're not going to want to work. They're not going to work with you, even if, you're paying their fee. A lot of good ones they can work, the rest of the year. They're not going to have a problem getting work. So I feel like it's critical to treat people with respect and also make sure that those jobs are treated correctly.
Absolutely. Everyone on site matters to us, big to small. They're all critical. They all have great points and they all deserve the respect of just the basic setup like that.
I'm sure the homeowner appreciates it too, right? As far as a clean job site.
Of course. It has many great benefits, and that's definitely one of them. It just it helps me mentally. I have a clear mind when I go out there and I can see straight versus a site that's cluttered with junk from 3 trades ago. It just simplifies the process, makes it better result.
And that was our first time even seeing shotcrete being sprayed, and we were just blown away at how hard everybody was working. And they were just so focused. I mean, they worked, I don't know how many hours, but it was just, there was no bitching or complaining. It was just straight work. And they were focused on detail and everybody was looking in on the project. And I was really blown away at how physical that job was, but everybody was kept under control and just doing their part. It's really cool.
Yeah, we work really hard to try to find the right trades for us and our projects. And those guys definitely kicked ass that day.
Yeah.
For sure. Another thing we really respect about you both is that you're always asking us when we're at the job site, what could you do better? If we saw anything that you guys could improve upon. Kind of takes a lot, I think, to really set aside your pride and ask those kind of questions. And we really appreciate that. Why do you guys choose to listen to our opinion and other opinions of other trades?
Well, I mean, trying to get better. And, part of that is learning. And if you don't know, you have to ask, and I don't think we're shy about asking. And I think, an area that, John and I, neither of us come from the service background. So there's a lot for us to learn there. We've, very few times taken the motor off the back of a pool or, had to mess with busted seals and, the things that you guys see in the chemistry and the microenvironments and pets and gates and, all that stuff. So we, understanding, something that we may not be versed in helps us build a better product.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really enjoyed that part and you guys just asking because, being on the service side, you always feel like when we were fully submerged in the service side, we didn't think that builders ever cared what, we thought, because if a pool wasn't performing the way that it was supposed to, no matter what type of equipment was on it, we always kind of had this thought that we just needed to figure it out. And either the builder was not to be found or we were not going to bother them with that. You know what I mean? But it was really nice if a builder maybe had their sticker or magnet on the panel, automation panel or something, and we could actually connect with them and see hey, you have this here. This doesn't seem to be, there was one pool in particular where the pool turned green and they said, oh, well, it's a salt pool or salt pool's not doing so well out here. And I haven't even gotten to the equipment yet. And I go over there and I'm looking at everything. I'm all, the salt cell's not plugged in. And he's like, oh shit. He said that, and this was he was supposed to have plugged it in. This was months and months and months ago. And I was like, well, plug it in, but definitely going to need to get some liquid chlorine in here ASAP and yada, yada, yada. But it was just sort of mind blowing that something that huge could be, missed, on a beautiful pool build in an exclusive community. But all those things are, really important. And, for us servicemen, when we run into that amount of issues, you start making up your mind about builders. But that's where we kind of had the idea for Pool Chasers, where we need to come together, because if we don't, then there's going to be this constant battle of it's, us versus them. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. The faster we combine forces with builders for a service company, and we're doing startups for you, we need to know everything about this pool, and you need to be willing to share that with us. And, we share the information on how this stuff works. That way we can both, have a good understanding of what each other does. And I think that is definitely getting much, much better. And it's too bad we're not doing pools anymore. Because it was a lot more difficult back in the day, for sure.
It's really important that we hand over the pool well to the clients and to their service techs, because the whole point is that they get to enjoy it and swim in it, and it's available when they want it. And servicing it properly and having an easy time of that is just part and parcel to that. All those little bits we do to lead up to the moment where we fill it with water are really important, but taking care of it beyond that is just as important, really. So the coordination of that lift is very much something we think about and deal with for the first, at minimum, 30 days of the life of the pool. And then we do a very clean handoff to the homeowner beyond that.
I remember another one in particular that we walked up. I think you hadn't gone to the service bid yet, but I went to go look at it to do the equipment stuff. And I walked up to it, and all of the pop-up heads were still out of the pool around the base. And I was like, I called you and I was like, are we supposed to take this on? I don't understand what's going on. And then I went over, and the equipment hadn't even been programmed. None of it was programmed. All of it was just sitting there. The lids weren't on right. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And I bring it up because I think we turned that away, because I'm not going to try to take over a pool that wasn't done properly. Why did this get handed to us at this point in this stage? We should not even be here. This is a waste of our time. It should have been done prior to us even walking on this property. And that was just insane to me. Everything just looked, and I was like, I told the homeowner, I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not ready to bid this pool yet. We can't do anything with this pool until they come back and finish their project. And we never went back to that pool, but it was pretty insane to walk up and see that we got called to do this at this stage.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you have to start telling people or asking them if there's water in the pool or if it's done being built, because they'd be like, can you come bid this pool, whatever, get out there, and it's just a hole in the ground. So how am I supposed to bid this? I can't turn the equipment on. I can't do anything. And I'm like, do you need that all? Yes, I'm going to explain why, and try to not make you feel like an idiot, but come on, really?
We get the same thing. We get people that send us plans and want a price on things that have got a million questions, but they're convinced that what they've sent over is everything that we need to know and understand about how to build this complicated project that they sent over. So,
like you're calling like an auto parts store, like, hey, can I get a price check on this?
yeah, right.
Yeah, let me look through the book real quick. Yeah, that's going to be it's like if I got to just wing it, it's going to be a lot more because I'm going to round up.
Right. So while we're on the topic of job sites, can you guys kind of walk us through some of the different phases of your pool builds?
So first, planning and preparation. It's key. Once we've been awarded a project, we dig deep and go heavy into identifying all of the design intentions, materials, the job site, the timing of everything. And Anthony and Gordon and I all work together to develop a solid plan set that we can work from and follow.
That kind of starts with us, working directly with, the homeowner, their architect, landscape designer, interior designer sometimes, to understand the vision and the best way to really bring that design to life.
Once the permit is in hand, we start by setting up the job site and putting everything together. So once the subs start to arrive, everything's really organized. And once they hit, they know what to do. They have all the plan sets ready. We've answered questions and met everyone involved on site. We want to make sure that what we're planning to do meets the vision of everyone involved.
What kind of subs are involved? What kind of subs are you reaching out to?
Especially the first critical pieces, the excavation, plumbing is really critical. That's such an important piece. All the way down to the rebar and then the shotcrete, get involved pretty early on in the process. And we start to tee things up before we even break ground and make sure everyone on our team really understands what's coming and what their role in that is.
Yeah, I think that's something that we work hard at. We're on site with each trade, so we don't just give them a good set of plans and hope for the best. So, not only do we do pre-site meetings and get them involved in the design process, but we also meet them on site, and I think that's critical to our success. Throughout the process, there's questions that arise, or changes that a homeowner may make to a plan. And, we like to be there to make sure, our client's vision is being actualized and, we're not putting that decision or, putting that outcome on our trade partner.
It's critical. And we really want the pool to be the highest quality it can be too. We truly want it to last longer than we all do.
Is it a little bit more complicated when you're mixing in the landscape with the pool in like actual project management? Because they're just two completely different things.
Not really. We try to understand the, time values of each thing and do our best to schedule. But, with as much as we communicate, understand our projects, I don't think it makes it any more complicated. I think it is just the same. Sometimes it's a little easier.
When would you say is the best time to actually start if you're doing like a backyard landscape and pool, when is the best time to actually start doing the landscape work?
We like to get the pool close to finished. And then get the landscape 100% finished before we do the interior surface. So in a perfect world, we'd love to see the landscape 100% finished, walk through done and hand it off before we put the surface on the swimming pool. We've been, like we mentioned before, customers put pressure on you to get projects finished or you've got deadlines that you have to meet. So we've certainly had circumstances where we finished a pool prior to when we should have finished a pool. And 10 times out of 10, we're, doing things to that pool that we wouldn't have otherwise had to do. So, I would say the schedule that we establish at the beginning and think about is the way that the project should roll. So
you're seeing a lot more artificial grass go in.
Almost every project.
Yeah, I think it's
some way, shape, or form.
A lot more often than it did a few years ago.
That's amazing. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah,
helps everybody.
Yeah,
it stays green. It's easy to care for, and the client always has what they want out there.
Yeah. When they're mowing the grass or whatever and they clean it up the best they can, but usually have to go in with a blower and somehow that stuff manages to make its way to the pool.
Oh, your clippings love to find the water.
Oh, yeah.
I think the problem is the homeowner doesn't usually do it, and it's, landscapers that do it and they just spray everywhere and don't care. That's the harder part. Not necessarily the homeowner that's doing that. It's the landscapers that don't care if the pool gets dirty.
No, it's true. And the landscape service and pool service are often disconnected, where they're not on the same team. They're just out for their own interest, and oftentimes that it gets left then for the next guy to clean up. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
But also, we understand that it's not easy to maintain a backyard. If you're doing landscape on a weekly basis, we also know that is not easy to avoid this giant, vessel in a backyard. You know what I mean? It's like the largest freaking, hole in the backyard.
Right.
Stuff's going to go in, but it's been really cool seeing some companies actually arriving to the pool and they're like skimming the top. Not that they're fully cleaning the whole entire thing, but they're like, you know what, we got a little too much in here. We'll just kind of, scratch the top and get some of that grass or whatever out. Always think that is like huge. I'm not sure what we could do for them in return, but
man, we had this one, I don't remember what company they are, but they took care of like 3 or 4 of our pools. They were the best. They had like a guy with a blower. One guy would be with a blower on one side and he blew the water all the way to some guy just standing there holding a net, and he blew all the stuff into the net. And I was like, I tried to do that one time. I was like, after I saw that, I was like, we need to get a blower. Like, I'm tired of skimming all this crap and I'm going to get a blower. I tried to do it. I'm like, nope. That's a
just
very
made it
unique
worse.
skill. Like he
just went into suspension.
He knew how to hold it at the exact angles to blow that stuff perfectly in this net. And every time I did those pools, man, I was so appreciative of those guys. Every time I saw them, I would thank them and stuff. It was cool.
That's neat. I think one small tweak you could do is just scheduling wise, schedule pool service the day after or later in the day of the landscape service, and just find the right pairing with that.
Wish it was that easy.
Right.
Yeah. We've tried. I feel like whoever's on site first. So if they were going to hire us and the landscapers are already going there on Wednesdays, that they already have like priority. They're going to be the ones that are having that service day. And it's really hard with the technician schedule, when they're going to be there, because you could be at a pool one week for 15, 20 minutes. Next week, you could be there an hour and a half, because you're always taking the good with the bad.
Yeah, it's always kind of cool, I think, to do it and give a day between, honestly, because a day between allows the pool to clean itself a little bit. Coming right after them kind of sucks. The pool doesn't run, it just sits there and settles. So, like, it's kind of cool to give it a day between, I think, then the pool actually does something for you overnight.
Right. So if you're listening, landscapers, just put that bad boy in quick clean or
help us
service
out.
mode until we get there.
The finished product's got to be one of the coolest parts, right? Being with the homeowner. How do you guys feel about that part?
We love it. I mean, it's it's always exciting for us to see the water crest for the first time, or see the expression on our clients' faces when we deliver a product. So there's nothing better than to create something that they think is better than what they had imagined. So it's pretty special when we get to hand off the keys.
And that actually ties in good with this. A few weeks ago, you guys had texted us to see if we wanted to see a pool that was complete. And it was really cool that you thought of us and trusted us to be in this exclusive community where the homeowner was there. And, you even introduced us as the pool chasers, and thought that was really cool because you talked about that we had a podcast for the industry. And it sounded like he got a kick out of it as well. And we were talking a little bit. I got a real good firsthand look at how you both deal with customers. The attention to detail is just so critical. I really enjoyed seeing how you guys interacted with the customer. And this dude he seemed really nice, but also a little bit aggressive. And he knew every little detail in the backyard and everything going on. You want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Oh, sure. You bet. I thought you'd really enjoy seeing what went into a photo shoot of a completed project. And obviously you did. It was neat to have you out there.
It was so cool.
It was cool to interact with the client. That guy's amazing. He's really techie and into detail, and really enjoyed the process working with us and understanding what went into each thing. And this guy had built probably 4 or 5 pools in his life, and so really understood what he was getting into and what he was buying from us. And it was fun to follow through the process with him, having somebody that was that deeply into and interested in what we were doing.
Yeah, and it was cool because he was actually talking to me about the pool build and landscape and all the different features that were in the backyard, the same way you guys did, that same level of excitement. And I feel like when you get that, like, you win. You know what I mean? When a customer's talking about a project they did because they're the ones that are going to get to experience it, like, you won. Because he was talking about the area even where his wife could have tea or coffee in that little courtyard that you guys had built. And there's a little water feature over there and all the other things going on. Just thought that was, incredible, especially for a person like that to, really get a kick out of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think we find working on the projects that we do is that we get pretty informed and educated buyers and clients. So they ask really good questions and they expect the best out of us. So it really forces us to up our game, be organized, be communicative, and deliver what we say we're going to deliver. So I think it's what makes it fun for us is working for people that understand what we're getting and the value of what we're providing. So
yeah. And how difficult was it? This was the first time I had ever seen it, but you guys had actually installed like misters coming out of the ground right by the like lounge chairs. I just thought once you guys turned that on and I got to see that firsthand, I was like, dude, what the hell is this? But that's so cool because, the Arizona summers here are just, extremely hot. So to be able to sit in a lounge chair and have misters going while you're under an umbrella or something, that's game changing.
Yeah, we try to think about all those little details and how it's going to be used. We ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, very cool.
Did he ask for that or did you guys just put that in the project?
We understood how he was going to use that space and where they were going to lay out. And we offered, our expertise on what was available and just educated him and allowed him to choose what he thought was best for him. And I think we all agreed that he made a great decision on adding mist to that area. So yeah, we just do our best to educate. That's what we do. We go in and we ask a lot of questions about lifestyle and understand, who they are, get to know them as a family and how they're going to use that space. And then we educate them on what the options are. And, sometimes we're asked our opinion on those and we weigh in on that. And then we all try to make an informed decision that makes the project right for that person.
So back to, what was going on that day, there was a gentleman doing a photo shoot as well as doing a drone shot as well, which is incredible. What was that guy's name again?
Ethan Cooper. Local
if you're listening,
photographer.
yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, really cool guy. Really enjoyed talking with him a little bit. But when I actually first rolled up to that house, you were walking towards my truck with a pole and net and got a kick out of that. Thought you were starting to clean pools. But you want to talk a little bit about why you had to have the pole and net?
Yeah, we all get our hands dirty. That's part of it. We're on site and not everything we do is glamorous. So that day that entailed me to get the pool clean for the photo shoot. So yeah, we step in and do what we need to do to get her done. So.
Yeah. And my first thought was, man, for Christmas, I'm going to get him a real pole and net. Because I did not like your setup, being on the pool service side. I was like, are you still in there pool equipment? I'm like, dude, put their pole and net back.
So there's a flat spot in it.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I recently I was driving down my one of the streets near my house and I saw them cleaning the pool, but they were there was a ton of stuff in the flat net and they were just knocking it on the wall, but it's like a main street right here and they were just like kept doing it, knock, knock. And I was like, dang, dude.
Is that a landscaper? Or it had to be a landscaper. Pool guys don't use that flat net.
No, I think it was a homeowner.
Oh, homeowner too, yeah, probably.
But I was just like blown away. I'm like, dude, that'd have been crazy. Somebody's like jogging or walking. There's a little path right next to where they were doing it, and they're just like knocking it on the wall. I'm like, damn.
We used to do that too at my parents' house. Remember, we would knock over the next door neighbor's house.
We probably learned that from your dad because he didn't like the neighbor. Probably. It's just a dirt lot over there anyway. That's hilarious.
There's definitely a technique to that for sure. Like you were saying with blowing, there's definitely a technique to getting the pool clean.
For sure.
Yeah. Speaking of your clients, what is your process in selecting a client and what type of relationships do you try and build with them? I know that you guys have a really cool Pinterest account and you do something sort of special with them. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure. Nearly all of our work is repeat referral. We just build good relationships and we manage them well and deliver on the goods. I always say we like to build nice things for nice people and we're really sticking to that.
Do you follow up with them regularly? Like people that you've done jobs for, do you follow up with them in like a year or two or anything like that?
Of course, some more than others, but we definitely stay in contact. I have people that I built their original home for back when I was maybe 22, 23, that I'm still friends with, that we still build and do remodels for. We're updating their new homes, they're downsizing or whatever is happening in their life. We're still a part of it. And we're still the call they make to come redo their backyard or whatever it is that they're into next.
Yeah, it seems like more now than ever, people aren't staying put very long. They might buy a house and build the pool or, some other things, but they might not like the area anymore for whatever reason. So they're going to, another city or something like that nearby. And then they're like, hey, can you build me a pool? It's like, didn't I just build you a pool? Like, yeah, I moved. Like, what the heck?
Right.
All right.
Right. We love that because we've built this good relationship. We have a good rapport and, if we can do it again, it's great for all of us. So we really enjoy it. The Pinterest is really helpful. That helps. We're so visual. Everyone is that when we can put it out there and put all the pieces of the project and the design all in a place that's accessible by each person involved, their phone or computer, it just gives us one more tool to help manage expectations.
Yeah. Well, I won't stay on this for too long, but this is social media, so I want to talk about it for a second. You create a private board for the customer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So is that also a good way for them to communicate other things that they might want? Because Pinterest is a good hub for finding, other things, like you might see Ledge Lounger's account and they could add it to the board. Is that a good way of
That's exactly right. Absolutely. Yeah, we tee it up. We put all the designs and relative pictures, material selections we like, pictures of the site, and then we let them run with it. We invite them to the secret board, and then they are able to add or take away things as they choose. And it really, it gives the homeowner a creative bit.
Yeah.
Anytime that you can get the client involved in a little bit of the creativity, it creates a special sort of stickiness to the project that they really enjoy, and it really stays with them a long time, and I think is healthy for the success of the project.
That's really cool. I think I've ran into some of your customers where they're talking like they built the pool.
Right.
Remember the guy? He's like, yeah, I'm a pool builder, this and that. I've never heard of you, dude.
So as far as that client goes, like, what do you guys do if you are given a client or somebody refers you to a client that you don't want to work with?
I don't know. There's several ways that we weed that out. We try to ask a lot of questions and understand that, up front. We try to do design contracts and understand, the project better. So that's usually a dead giveaway. If someone's not willing to pay us for our services and they don't value what we're bringing to the table in terms of the pool scope, that's an easy way for us to weed out, potential clients. So if they're just wanting a price, we're not your guy. If they're wanting to hire someone that's going to dig in and really start asking the questions and try to really understand it and develop a set of plans that's workable, then, it's usually where we start. And then at the end of that relationship, we can decide if it's for both of us, good to move forward. And I think that's something that helps us out quite a bit. So, most times we've got an opportunity to do all the design work up front, understand that, and then turn it into an actual construction project. And by that process and that time period, I think we both understand how each other works and if it's going to be a good fit or not.
Have you ever signed a contract with somebody that you regretted?
Oh, yeah. But your gut tells you a lot, so if you listen to that, I think it can steer you in the right direction. So we do try to value, our knowledge and trust, what we feel is right. And we're all on the same page with our core competencies and what's important to us. So, with that, I think we are able to align ourselves with the right people, and we try to put ourselves in a position to work with the people that we want to work with, and we try to create the jobs that we want to work on. So, but we've definitely had customers that weren't our favorites, but not a lot, honestly. We get pretty lucky, and I think we're pretty fortunate on who we've been able to work for. It's been pretty fun.
I think we tried, a lot to listen to our gut. And every time we would talk to one another and be like, maybe we can bend the rule a little bit. Every time we bent the rule, it was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea, but I feel like it was crucial because we learned something from every one of those experiences. Mm-hmm. And I always think in like psychology, trying to figure out why they're acting the way that they're acting and what I can do to kind of bypass that and make this a better experience. But I've learned that, doesn't matter how much money you have, people are human. And if they're going through a death in the family or a bad marriage or, something with their kids, pool guy, landscaper, electrician, doesn't matter who you are a very easy target. And learn to accept that no matter how nice or cool you're going to be, if they're going through some crazy shit, you're a good punching bag.
Yeah. Collateral damage.
Exactly.
Right.
So every company kind of faces their own set of challenges. What do you guys think has been some of the biggest struggles you've faced as a company?
I think for us, perception of value. One of my favorite quotes by Warren Buffett is, price is what you pay, value is what you get. We really tried to deliver on the value, but that's not atypical in this pool industry. It's definitely a separator for us and a handful of other companies that are willing to up the bar and get the education and deploy the right materials and the right labor and the right efforts toward making something great. And that's what we do, relaying that to the customer and having them understand what the difference is between our quote and another competitor's quote can be a challenge.
Yes.
Also, you can touch base on like standards and expectations.
Yeah, I mean, ours are pretty high. We hold ourselves to a pretty high set of standards. In our industry, not so much. So, that's something else that, we're always educating. And, I think sometimes having to explain why we want things done a certain way to somebody that's been doing it a certain way for a long time. But, we understand that. We feel like we put the right people on the right jobs. So, but yeah, that's something that we definitely...
Sure. You mentioned, I think on your form, that being different is one of your biggest struggles.
I don't know that I would say being different. I think just like he was saying, there's, a handful of companies that do things really well here. And then there's a lot of guys that have done things like they've always done them or not done them well. It's just having a substandard set of standards in our industry, can be of challenge sometimes. And but given the right client an opportunity to explain and educate, most people understand and get it. We're not always given that opportunity.
Sure.
Well, you guys have built some impressive pools. If you had to choose one, what would be your favorite project?
Thank you. I like all the projects. For me, the most technical ones are my favorite. The perimeter overflows, the large negative edges, the large remodels. That's what really, sort of turns me on.
I've got a lot of favorites as well. I don't have any one that really stands out. I guess we haven't been tested to our limits yet, but we just have a lot of fun trying to make the next one better than the last.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the everything that I've seen of yours has been really cool. But the Arcadia one pool you guys did, I thought that one was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a small pool with a lot going on.
Yeah, it really does. But it really, you look at it though, and all the pictures that I've seen, you could really enjoy that. You could step outside and you could really just enjoy, swimming, relaxing, watching TV. There's a staircase that goes up top. There's the fire feature. There's all kinds of different things going on that really build like a really comfortable setting to really relax and chill by the pool, and something you could be proud of. You can have the friends over and it's something to really be proud of. It's a really, really cool design.
Yeah, that was designed by a guy that we work with a lot here, a local guy that did a heck of a job. We were really excited to see that one come across our desk. It was fun to figure out how to make that thing work, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
We did. I think the trick with all those features and all making it work and seem simple, yet have that complexity. That's what we really enjoyed there.
I feel like that's probably always the most difficult part. It's like it has to look a certain way, and especially, minimalism and making things modern and this and that. It's got very simple look, but the insides can be very complex.
And what's fun about a pool like that, it looks good, but I don't think I've ever been over there and not seen rafts or toys or something floating in the pool. Right. They use that thing hard, so it's cool to see that too. Not only does it look good, but it gets used pretty hard. So
that's the best, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We love to see that.
I know we're closing this up, but do you both do you have a pool at your home right now?
I just moved to a house that does not have a pool. So I've had one my whole adult time in Arizona, and it was great. But I just recently moved to a house that does not have a pool. So I'll probably end up putting a pool in the next year or two. So nice. I don't know when we'd be able to get to that now, but when time is there, we'll probably put a pool in.
Very cool. And you, John?
I have a small pool that we built. It's small. It's maybe 4,500 gallons. But it has many of the features that a lot of our larger pools do, and a lot of the custom stone and tile work and all. So
yeah,
it's small but mighty.
Yeah. I just recently, probably about, the swim season started probably about a month ago. But me personally, I've made it a point to be in my pool every single day. And we spend all weekend, probably about 6 hours in the pool. And for anybody listening to this, it's crazy what you can start to understand about a pool and design, how that works. And even it's like a whole nother world, putting on goggles and being under the water and embracing it and thinking it makes you think outside of the box. You don't think about it when you're just doing it, but when you're thinking, I am in the pool industry and I'm a professional, like, why do people like this so much? Why do kids like this so much? Why won't my kids? There's nothing else around that my kids would want to do as much as being in here. Why is that? But really going into it with that mindset. And I've done that every day, whether it be exercising or laughing, having fun, or all these different things. But I think that is a critical piece. Enjoying a swimming pool is not an easy thing. That is a luxury, being able for me to go swim every day. But I think it is important for anybody that wants to learn more about swimming pools, even if you're, a technician and cleaning the pool. I think you need to find a pool and fully submerge yourself and enjoy it. That way you can really understand why even customers say and do the things that they do because it's like, are your eyes burning? Does this not feel good? Is it cloudy under the water? Is this drain not here? Are my kids getting too close to this area? I can't really enjoy it because the pool is built this way. There's so many things that come to mind when you go into it with that mindset. But I just wanted to share that piece because I've enjoyed swimming a lot more lately, being in there, being a lot more open-minded about it.
I try to swim in every pool I can that we build if the homeowners will let us. I'll even go there with my kids and spend a little time if they allow. And for this exact reason, we want to get better. And what a better way to get better if you can put yourself in that position and swim through it and understand it that well. I think that's part of our water chemistry interest currently is my own pool doesn't feel quite right. I think it's time to flip the water. And, it helped in the part of the process of digging deeper and figuring out a better way to do it. There's, what's currently being done in the industry for water chemistry isn't quite enough. And I think we're learning that more and more. And I'll use my own example to implement that.
Very good. Yeah, I just had my pool reverse osmosis, and I feel a huge difference in the water, even the length of clarity in the water because we're wearing so much sunscreen and different things like that. Before the water would get cloudy quicker, and I'm seeing now that there's a better quality water in there. I'm letting even the chlorine levels sit lower at like a 2 or 3, and it's keeping its clarity. Trying not to put too much chlorine tablets in if I don't have to, trying to not drive up that CYA count and different things like that. So there's a lot of, when having your own pool, it's fun to be able to test things out and you're able to understand things differently. But that is so cool that try to go into the pools after you build them. That's freaking rad.
We have a few we actually take care of too. The clients are never here and they want us to be in play to make sure they're heated and properly maintained while they're away. And there are a handful of the complex ones that we actually oversee.
Yeah. Well, if you ever need like a test dummy to flop in a pool, don't you be shy, John.
Yeah, give us a call.
Yeah,
we're glad to do cannonballs in the pool for you.
Yeah.
Test out the spa jets.
Yeah.
So, hey, the homeowner's calling. He needs you to leave.
Yeah. So thank you guys for sharing all your story, and we appreciate all that. Have you guys had any books or podcasts along the way that inspired you?
So many different ones. Just to rattle a few off, Find Your Why, Building a Story Brand, which is something Greg shared with me that was really great. How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Power of Positive Thinking, everything Gary Vee, Robert Kiyosaki, and Tony Robbins does is really inspirational and is a great guide. We listen to tons of audiobooks. We're driving around town a ton and love to absorb anything we can.
Very cool. It's been I'll let you share, Gordon, but it's been a lot of fun being able to, share the books and podcasts when we meet up or just through text message. It's good to have people around you that, you have similarities with. And I look up to you guys, and it's nice getting your feedback on the things that you educate yourself with. So I think that's super important.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say you guys mentioned some good ones. We're always up for learning new information from industry leaders.
Yeah. And it's always cool that different interviewees that we have on the podcast, they're all from different walks of life and they do different things. So any books, audiobooks, podcasts, magazines, different things like that is, we always jot it down. And, sometimes you get quarter way through it and be like, I could.
Right.
It's not really for me. Some of these are for me, some not so much, but it's always really good. So where can people, see your work and how can they reach out to you if they can do so?
You can find us online, www.liquidevolutionpools.com. We're on Instagram as well at Liquid Evolution, Facebook, Twitter. So we're pretty easy to find.
Nice. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being with us today. I know you're super busy, but it's been a real honor. And we know that everybody's going to enjoy this episode 51. And, you guys mean a lot to us. And 51 just happens to be my favorite number. So we wanted you guys to be on this episode. So once again, thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us. We're honored. And we're all about what you guys are doing. So thanks for putting out good info.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having us. Cheers.
Thanks for checking out this episode. If you want to find out more about our guests or the sponsors of the show, you can check them out on the links we have provided in the write-up below. We have also provided links to our social media platforms, so please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Our tag is Pool Chasers. If the podcast has brought you any value, please do what you can to support us through our Patreon page by going to patreon.com/Pool Chasers. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to be updated each time a new episode is released. One last thing. If you're not yet in our Facebook group, join it today to be surrounded by like-minded individuals who are all trying to better the industry. Thank you all for the support. We appreciate your time and your ear.
See you out there, pool chasers.